Oh, look at that. Teviotdale pie made. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, look at that. Hi everyone, welcome to Backyard Chef. I'm Rick. Today we are doing a real old school recipe. This dates way back to the borders of Scotland. We're making a Teviotdale pie. Unbelievable recipe. Now the Teviotdale pie actually hails from a town on the borders of Scotland of Hawick. In that area, it hails from that area originally. Now we have no idea when it first came to being made, but you know, it's simply a meal all in one. It's a fantastic pie. Now back in the old days they used to use a minimal amount of meat, and this Teviotdale pie was actually made with minced beef originally. So we're going to make it with minced beef, but we're going to pep it up a little bit to make it into an all-in-one meal. I've got an array of ingredients in front of me here, and I'm going to pep it up with a couple of little things that weren't in it originally, but you can see where it all fits in. I'm using minced beef, exactly the same as the original recipe, and all we got to do is cut some onions, prep some onions up. Now in the interest of this video, we'll chop these, okay? There's no point just chucking him out of a pan. Garlic is completely optional. If you want garlic in, put it in. I'm not going to put it in this one. I normally put garlic in my pies, but this one I'm going to miss out. I'm adding an extra ingredient which I like in this pie. Again, it's very optional, and it wasn't in the pie originally, and you'll see why in a second. I'm adding Vegemite. Now you don't have to add it, so don't worry about it. You don't have to have it on your ingredient list. We're going to put the Vegemite in because it gives it a full-bodied, beefy type malty flavour in there. It really adds to it. I've already cubed up some potatoes. That's an extra in here, which you don't normally see, but I'm making a whole meal in one. Let's show you how to do it. Come on. So grab ourselves a pan. Pan on. Okay, and this stuff in here is 100% pure lard. 100% homemade lard. I make it all the time. We use it all the time here. That is 100% rendered down pork fat. That is lard. Look at that. That is deliciousness right there. Now this is going to be a real old school cooking method. Now if you can't get lard and you don't want to use lard, use butter. If you don't want to use butter, use oil. So a little bit of heat under that pan, and here we go. So do we have to wait for that to melt and heat up? No. In there with our onion. Let's start giving that a little fry in there. Already smell that lard coming out of the pan. Superb. Oh, listen to that sizzle. In there, a good pinch of dried thyme. In there, our minced beef. Start by giving it a break up. Start cooking it down. Okay, in there with some pepper. This is freshly ground black pepper. Salt, pepper, optional. Whatever you want in there, put it in. I like pepper in my pies. It's the only way you're going to get to season this meat. Salt, I'm not using. We're not using salt because it's in the gravy granules. In there with a splash, about tablespoon of Worcester sauce. In there, let's use that moisture from the pan. There's a lot of water in there already. Let's go in there with a couple of tablespoons of tomato puree, tomato paste. So we're using our fluid already in the pan to help distribute our tomato puree through there. Now keep an eye on it, we don't want to burn this. If it seems to be too thick and there's not enough moisture in the pan, add a splash of water. Here comes the ingredient which you either use or you don't use. I'm using Vegemite. And I'm using a good tablespoon. In it goes. This adds a fantastic depth of flavour to any pie. And I understand why people don't like it. It is quite strong, but it's very healthy. The only thing with Vegemite, it takes a little bit to disintegrate in there, to incorporate. But not to worry, it does actually melt down. Break up your mince. Now, like I say, this recipe was to provide a big meal out of minimal amount of meat or minimum amount of ingredients, and put a healthy, hearty meal on the table. I'm going to add some potatoes, 100% optional. You don't have to put the potatoes in, but we're going to turn this into a real decent meal. So we're going to start those potatoes off in there, cooking with our meat. Now you have to watch this because it is quite a dry pan. Now I am going to add just a little bit of water. I don't want to add much, so just give that a little stir in. I just need that little bit of fluid in the bottom of there so it doesn't catch on the bottom. About 5 minutes with those potatoes in there, and then we're going to add our gravy. The smell in here already is absolutely superb. Absolutely superb. Now, for all the people that follow this channel all the time, and I have quite a few regulars on here that contribute comments and everything else, you all know that I'm really interested in traditional recipes. I think the traditional old school recipes need keeping alive because we're in an age where everything's microwave, it's quick meals. The old recipes are going. Now, if you have an old recipe and you're willing to share that recipe, please either drop me an email or drop me the recipe in one of the comments, and let's see if we can reproduce an original recipe on this channel. Right, this is Knorr powder. It's a Knorr beef mix. I think they call it brown sauce or something. But it's not the demi-glaze. They have two boxes of the stuff for commercial use, and this one is the brown sauce. However, if you can't get this, just mix up a beef gravy with cubes or anything that you have. In we go. And that little bit there. Stir it in. Now we're just going to let this simmer bubble for about 10 minutes. We're not going to have to do much to it apart from give it a gentle stir, and that should soften up those potatoes that are under that gravy. Now of course you can put a lid on if you so wish. So while the whole time we've got this bubbling away, you have to keep giving it a little stir, a little turn over. The gravy is going to thicken up and all that goodness is going to be in there, and the potatoes are going to start to soften. However, don't burn on the bottom of the pan. Nice gentle stir as it cooks. Well, they've had a good 5 minutes or so. We're going to go in there with our frozen veg. Just gentle stir in. That's got a little bit of veg in there. That looks like a fantastic pan full of food right there. Look at the flavour in there. Okay, we've had about 12 minutes there. That's thickened up quite nicely. Those potatoes are starting to soften. Don't forget they're going to go in the oven and cook in the oven for 20 minutes. So that is about spot on. So turn off the flame, and then we will just transfer some of this to a tray. Okay, now what we're going to do is transfer this to our tray. Now we are going to try and leave some gravy in that pan. I mean, come on, just look how fine that looks. And we got quite a lump of gravy in there, which we'll water down and we'll make for gravy to go over the top of our pie. This is absolutely boiling. So what we're going to do is let this cool down and we'll make up our pastry. Now, for all those people that follow this channel, you've seen me make this type of pastry before. So in there we've got self-raising flour and corn flour. And we're going in there with a pinch of salt. I'll have a little mix in there. Now this is a real weird pastry, but I tell you, it's the best pastry in the world by far. That is suet. Okay, if you can't get suet, you can't make it. Suet I use is a Torah suet. Torah suet is well known all over the UK, and it is a staple, or used to be a staple from years and years ago. And it used to be everywhere. It's made into dumplings and used to be made into pastry. Now people shy away from suet pastry. Why, I have no idea. It is the best pastry in the world. A Torah is the best make. This is beef suet. You can get veg suet. It's a green packet. So you have a choice of what you want to make it with. All we're going to do is bring that together like breadcrumbs. Now you don't have to do it like this. I just prefer to do it like this, and then we've fully incorporated the fats into our flour. Now this is a very weird pastry if you've never seen or made it before, but it works every time. It is superb. Has a light crust over the top, nice and crusty actually, very puffed up, light and fluffy all the way through, and it has that softness when it meets the meat. Oh, in my opinion, it is the best pastry in the world. But that's my opinion. So it's just nice, the same as we do any pastry. Lift and rub nice and gently. Up it comes, nice and gently. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit more traditional than we did before. I'm going in there with a pinch of thyme, and I'm going to put the thyme over the top too. So we just need to stir that through there. So we've got a little bit of herbs in that flour. This is the crazy part of this. That is milk. If you didn't think a pastry would work, this is the pastry which you think wouldn't work. It's superb. So we need to stir all that in, and we're making a batter. Secret to this batter, let it stand 5 minutes or so. If you can let it stand 10 minutes, that's fine. 5 minutes is enough. And then we'll put it on top of our pie. I'm using the HYSapientia air fryer oven. You can use any oven at home. We want 170 degrees on the clock. We're going to preheat it. Okay, we've preheated our oven. Now what we need to do is go over our pie with our batter. And what you have to do is sort of start from the edges and work in. This stuff is going to bubble over. The batter isn't, but the pie mix is. We need to try and seal that in there the best we can. Now you could be an awful lot more careful than I am. I've obviously got quite a lot of mix in my pie. You know, you can put less in and be more careful. You can have it lower down. I'm not bothered. I want a full pie. And like I said, over the top with a little bit of thyme. Now it's all going to puff up and the thyme is going to be inside the pastry. And straight in the oven. Oven on. I'll set it for 22 and then we'll see what happens. We are cooked. Let's have that out of there. Oh, look at that beauty. That is superb. Okay, skewer. Clean as a whistle cooked. So we do know that this takes about 20-22 minutes tops to cook a pie like this. That is superb. Okay, we're just going to let it cool down and then we'll cut into it. Okay, now I'm going to go for the end as usual. I'm going to come in here. Whoa. Oh, I can smell that coming out of there already. That smells absolutely tremendous. All we're going to do now is serve it up. Oh, look at that. Teviotdale pie made. Fantastic. All we've got to do now is serve it up with a few chips and a bit of that gravy. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, look at that. Look at that monstrosity. Let's get stuck in. Oh, crusty top, soft pastry, crumbly pastry. Look in there. Oh, which bit do you go for first? Oh, superb. I've never eaten over a pie before. Perfectly cooked potatoes. That is sensational. That is Teviotdale pie made. That is a whole meal in one with a few addition of chips. That is absolutely sensational. Now, if you've had Teviotdale pie before, and I've heard Morrison's are actually serving it up. If you had it before, let me know what you think. If you haven't had it before, definitely try it. And if you can make this recipe, this is a meal in one. Now, if you like what we're doing, don't forget, smash that like and subscribe, share with your friends, all that kind of stuff. Catch you in the next video.